Welcome and hello and welcome back to the Chris Seibert Show. Gosh, I just love this microphone. So happy that Bryce introduced me to this thing because now I just feel like the ultimate talk show radio host of the 20th century, aka DJ Chris T, the guy that likes to talk with this cool microphone and make no sense and just embarrass himself for the first couple seconds to get the jitters out. Okay, that's done now. Hello and welcome back to the Chris Seibert Show. This is week 15 solid weeks of being consistent, uploading this a week. And I still must admit that this is kind of my favorite thing, my favorite type of content to bring to you guys each and every week. Not only do I get to share a little bit of my personal life with you, for those of you that don't always get to stay up to date with what's happening in my life, this is the best way of doing it. And then additionally, also getting the opportunity to hear my stock portfolio updates and then just anything else I feel like I need to be bringing up. But 15 weeks of being consistent. And it's crazy to think that I'm pretty sure we launched this thing back in April or May. And here we are today in August. I'm looking at my calendar here, we're almost done with August. Here in a couple weeks, it's going to be September. Wow. What a year it's been, right? So as always, we got to go over the analytical data to bust off this podcast or get things going. If we look back at last week, some very fun, some very exciting information to share with you guys. 5 total downloads through either Apple Podcast or through Spotify. Again, I don't have the exact amount of downloads per platform, but I have altogether through Lisbon, the host I use in terms of analytics, 5 downloads. So for those of you 5 people, I've noticed it's been really consistent with the downloads ever since I posted that on my personal Instagram. I shared the story of Bryce and I talking. Still super heartbroken that the video wasn't able to be uploaded or exported properly through Premiere. Some major issues with that, which breaks my heart. However, with that being said, being able to share that small 1 minute of footage and put it on my personal Instagram, and then some people coming over to my more YouTube hobbyist Instagram where I share a lot of things that I enjoy, hobbies and content. But yeah, 5 downloads. It's been like that for the last few weeks. So that stayed pretty consistent, which is awesome. And then if we turn over and talk about YouTube, I had 7 views this past week for episode 14 and 2 additional likes. So 12 views altogether. And what I'm very excited, and this is a big statistic and some data I am very happy to share with you guys who are tuning in this week and listening, that just this month alone in August, I will have, at this point in time as of today, I've had 25 total downloads in this month of August total for the Chris Seibert Show. Now this can conclude the past week, so week 14, week 13, week 12, even all the way down to week 6. I mean, any week there's been 25 total downloads. And my previous record was back in June, and that was 24. So with still this week and next week to go on the month, we are definitely going to surpass that. And we already have by 1 download as of this point in time as I'm recording this here on Thursday. But again, just a huge shout out and thank you to every single one of you guys who continue to put in the time and listen to this, whether you're commuting at home, whether you're doing the dishes at home, on your way to work in the morning, working out. I don't know when you're listening, when you're watching, but it just means a lot to me that you're taking the time to keep up with my life as we continue to keep going through this crazy scenario we call life. And it just really makes me happy. Also, in terms of data and analytics, I want to share that my most previous episode of Welcome to My Weekends has, at this point in time, 7 views as well as 2 likes. So again, thank you very much. I hope you guys had a laugh or two. I don't know if you're starting to notice a common trend or not, but I don't really take, I hope it's not like sounds horrible, but I don't take too much effort into putting editing the episode. I like to just gather clips throughout my weekend, kind of collage it into one long montage of clips throughout the weekend, and then just upload it to YouTube and share those kind of memories and things that happened in my life for you guys, anybody who feels like watching or just wants to follow along and see what my past weekend was like. So yeah, just seeing those views, hearing the likes, getting a couple texts. Even Bryce was kind enough to say that there was a few parts that he found very funny in the video, and he was in the video quite often. So it just means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch that. So I feel like that's a pretty good segue talking about Nashville, getting into my personal life, what's happened within the last 7 days, what's new, what's going on. I want to talk a little bit about Nashville. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend this, I guess you could call this mesh or this joint bachelor and bachelorette party. I know Scott extremely well through Ryan and Bryce, who were my roommates in college for 2 years. I don't know Peyton as much, but she is so sweet. And every time I've had the opportunity to be with her, hang out with her, she is so fun and cool. So I got to see some of her friends. Of course, the guys and I hung out, Scott, Bryce, Ryan, and Cody. It was a very fun getaway. Due to the pandemic situation, it's very unfortunate. I couldn't imagine having such a sentimental and fun time with some of your closest and most important friends in your life. And, the bars weren't open. Well, I would say the bars were open, but it was cool just to, hang out with all of us together, especially the guys. I know that, with all of our different occupations and trying to find time and, just get together, it can be kind of challenging, especially since the distance is so far. But overall, yes, we were very intoxicated the whole weekend. That was kind of the point, but it was just fun to experience that. And I can't wait for my special day when, I get to hang out with my friends and do stuff like that and just get together and have a blast and just celebrate and just enjoy each other's company and time and just be goofy in ourselves and just make so many memories. It's great. But Nashville was it was a very fun time. We ended up getting late there Friday evening at an Airbnb, which was absolutely beautiful. If you couldn't tell, we stayed in an Airbnb. It was 3 stories. It was just so nice. We looked it up on Zillow, and I want to say it was a little less than $800,000. But yeah, it was just completely remodeled, beautiful, all open concept, cool little upstairs living room space area on the main floor, and then of course the basement. It was a blast. And then so we went hard on Friday evening, woke up, and then on Saturday we slept in just a little bit, not too much though, and made our way to have some moonshine, I guess is kind of a big thing in Tennessee, right? I guess there's a lot of brewing going on, or from what I've heard from people. So we found time to just sample some moonshine, hang out at a bar, have some drinks, play some games. And then we made our way over to Top Golf, golfed for a few hours, had a nice barbecue dinner at Honky Tonk, I believe is the street, or that's what it's known for, at a bar with some live music. Went back, tried to finish all the food and alcohol that I guess some of the people who catered there for us, the friends of both Scott and Peyton. And then it was a rough night. I'll just leave it there if you're going to tell it in the video, because it was like a mesh of all the whole weekend I recorded with my camcorder. But yeah, Saturday was very, very rough. And then don't even get me started on the commute back on Sunday with our hangovers and headaches. It was a long drive, but it was so much fun. Would easily do it again. We had a blast, and I was just very thankful and happy to be part of that and see that and just have fun with everybody. So that was pretty much Nashville. What's cool, I honestly, it's really cool, but a big major key that I want to bring up is that I'm officially done traveling now, or going on a vacation, or doing something outside of Indiana for quite some time. I believe that there might be plans later towards the end of the year. But as for right now, nothing really set in stone in terms of a vacation. It's going to be nice. I'm kind of excited to wind down. It was Vegas, then it was like a quick rest period, and then it was to Nashville, and then here we are this weekend. And even this weekend's going to get busy. I'll be talking about what I'll be doing more later after I talk through some more of these bullet points. But yes, I'm officially done traveling, and thank goodness. What does this mean now that I am done traveling and just thinking long term, the rest of 2020, as we only have a few more months left? I really want to get back to that little how do I describe this? Just that mentality and that hunger. I've been able to maintain that. Thank goodness. I know kind of in mid-June, early July, I was kind of just slow with uploading content, and I wasn't really like demotivated, I would say, but I just kind of was like, I need a break. Like I just need a little bit of time away. My life's just crazy. Everything's crazy. But now that I know that I'm done with traveling, know that I'm done with spending some cash for a little bit, I really wanted to buckle down and get serious again, start going crazy again with the content. Now that Bryce has moved back in, we have our own little project going on. I've been doing stuff with Josh, still haven't reached out, which is a huge part on my end, but I've just there's just so much going on. Start doing skits again. I've had another individual reach out to me about helping with a web series. And then of course, a couple other little things here and there. There's been a lot of people who I've been fortunate enough to talk to and get in contact with, but again, trying to fill my schedule and just planning outside other than work, seeing somebody who I really like and spending time with her. And then of course, all this side stuff going on. I need to really buckle down and get focused again to end this year on the best note ever. It already is the best note ever, even though there's a pandemic, which is really sad, but I'm just ready to buckle down and get serious again. With that being said, I've came into early to the end or at the beginning of this week on Monday. I looked back at the budget I had created for myself. It was in one of my April videos where, if you guys can remember, I did the 30-day video challenge, or at least a challenge I created where every single day in April I made a video. And I looked back at that budgeting plan and now thinking about where I'm heading in the future in terms of investing. I'm going to be talking about that and stuff too, but just really figuring out, how to end 2020 with so much saved, more to be able to invest in, living below my means, and figuring out, not eating out as much, and just really toning down my expenses and perfecting that, and seeing when 2021 starts, with how much I've saved, how much I have invested, just continue to keep that push forward. So that's another big one of my focuses. And then the last thing I've really been focusing on and trying to figure out this week, again, it's been such a busy week. I got so many exciting announcements, definitely something to share, I think, at the end of September with, in terms of my side business. That'll be on the hush now until I know that's confirmed and I've started that project underway. But with that being said, just finding time to work out again. Between all the last few weeks with all the traveling, I haven't really had time to just run. So I'm very excited and ready to start running again, a couple miles here, a couple miles there. When I say I've been busy, I don't think people understand. I've been really busy. And that's one of the key indicators. If you guys can remember, in week 14, I talked about my live streams on Wednesday evening. I just kind of had to cut that out because it was like, even on Wednesday, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a nice rest period for me, and that's what I need. But even then, there's still a good chance that sometimes I might be working, in the evening post work, or working on a side project for somebody. So just having 3 days open in my schedule to have those days for me to specifically relax is very, very nice. So going back to being officially done with traveling now for at least some short amount of time, I'm really excited to, kind of really find that hunger and drive again. Even though I've had it, it's now kind of just maintaining it and bouncing off of that, of what I have, and just get back to work. I'm very excited to do that. And with my new budget, I'm excited to kind of give you guys updates on how it really works out. I'm not starting it this month. Starting in September, I have a strategy, and I can really break that down next week to have some more stuff to talk about. But I'm really excited about this budget, seeing, at the end of month, in terms of assets and liabilities, obviously you want to have more revenue and money coming in. So you want to really focus on assets instead of liabilities. When your liabilities are things that you owe that don't generate revenue, such as bills, electricity, all that stuff. I'd say it's more of a liability. So those are expenses. And at the end of each month, you want to make sure that you're making more money and able to either save it or reinvest it into something else to create more money. So I will be probably breaking that down more and in depth. Maybe that's going to be a new segment that I carry on starting in September, because that's when I'm going all out on the whole budget thing. But I'm very excited to implement that in my life more strategically, kind of likewise what I was doing back in the beginning of the year. And then, of course, just working out. It's going to be nice again to run, to feel the pain. And what I honestly should probably start doing is just doing push-ups and sit-ups before bed, because I used to be doing that frequently and I've just altogether stopped exercising. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for what's to come and share the progress and share how all that's going with you guys. In terms of this weekend, so, looking at welcome to my weekends next week. What's the footage? What's the content all going to be about? It's going to be difficult to kind of capture a whole lot, specifically on Saturday. So Emily, a girl I've been seeing who I really, really like a whole lot, who has met my parents, mostly my mom and sister, more times than one. I am now having the opportunity to go visit her parents this weekend on Saturday, and I'm not going to be rolling in with the camera, obviously, but no, I'm very excited to do that. So Saturday, I'm doing that. And then on Sunday will probably be a lot more footage heavy, where I will be spending time with both my mom and sister, and then of course again Emily, and we'll be walking or hiking, I guess you could say, either walking or hiking, right, at Eagle Creek Park, and I'll be gathering footage, and then we're going to be getting some sushi afterwards. So this weekend's going to be really fun. It's going to be a lot more relaxing and peaceful and exciting, and a lot more laid back as well, which is nice. A nice little break. So that's what I have for you guys for my personal life in the last 7 days, what to expect next and what's happening next as well this weekend. And then also, I guess, my weekends for next week. So the stock market, let's go ahead and bust into this stock talk, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, do I love stocks, and I know you guys do too. So I'm going to erase this little note I have in my notepad as I'm working, because it's going to confuse me. So referring back to week 14 last week, I was so excited when I was filming Wednesday, because Blink Charging, their earnings report was coming out Thursday, and after hours there was going to be a phone call, and I was just so excited for that phone call because I knew the stock price was just going to skyrocket. It did. However, the following day it began to have a little bit of a sell-off, and then here we are, I would say more than a week later. On this Thursday, there was an article that came out yesterday. I cannot remember the name, but some individual, I don't know if it was like a publisher or some type of firm, didn't really look too into it, but they came out saying that Blink has been lying about their charging network, and it caused a pretty big crash for the stock. Now, me being me, I invested into Blink back in late January, early February, and I put a lot of money in, with my price average being at $2.34 per share. Right now, the stock, I believe, is hovering around the $7 range, so it doesn't affect me too much. But as you guys can always remember, I try to bring this up, which for those of you out there, I think it's such a good idea if you do your research right. I'm young. I just turned 25 literally last month. I am a long-term holder. I am what you would consider bullish person. I don't like selling things, and Guaranteed I have came on here and told you guys that I've sold positions quite a few times, but thinking long-term, I just want what's the most convenient for me, what I believe in, what I trust in, and will continue to add to those positions and hold them. So yes, there was bad press about Blink. They came out with a statement later this afternoon saying that it was false, and that they're going to look into that statement and try to, see if there's any legal options they can take to make sure that the people who came out with that press release or that article gets a punishment. But yeah, happy overall with Blink's earnings, and it's unfortunate with this whole individual firm company coming out and saying these things about Blink, but I take things with a grain of salt. I still fully believe that electric vehicles are the future, and as we continue to see more and more electric vehicles enter the market, like through manufacturers like General Motors, Ford, Toyota, you name it, Nissan, we're going to need more charging stations for individuals, so that way they feel comfortable buying the electric vehicles. So long term, I still feel like that's going to be a great stock, and for right now, what it's worth, it's still pretty cheap in my eyes. But yes, this is the thing that I really want to share about and talk about. So SPHD, I haven't really added to any of my positions this week, but going back to my budgeting and restructuring of my budgeting, now that Bryce has officially moved in here at my apartment complex and we're roommates, I just took half of what I was paying off a month to live here. So I'm living pretty much 50% cheaper than what I was, which is so wonderful because now I have $400 additional each month at my disposal. So what I'm doing now and what I've kind of mapped out is I'm taking $50 each week and investing it into 4 different dividend stocks. And my main focus right now is just monthly paying dividend stocks. So I've kind of done my research and looked at the best monthly dividend stocks and, looking at their history and the charts and, really what's in their portfolio. But I've continued to watch, and I still hold positions in SPHD, STAG, and PBA. But what's nice about Robinhood, the brokerage app that I use, you're allowed to buy fractional shares. So say if SPHD, this ETF, this exchange traded fund, is $67 a share, I don't have to spend $67. I mean, I can theoretically, right? But if I don't have $67, I can buy a fraction of it. So for these 4 stocks that I just adore and want to continue to keep, increasing my overall value in each one of these holdings, I can just put $12.50 a week into each one and continue to keep doing that. So then that way, over time, I'll continue to add shares as I continue to keep putting in more money, but and then using that dividend to reinvest into the stock. So yeah, I'm really excited about this budgeting plan. I really need to start breaking that down and sharing it a lot more once it starts in September. So for those of you out there that listen weekly, I don't know what you guys really listen to weekly. Like, what's your favorite part? If it's just my life, the stock stuff, I'm not sure really what you guys enjoy listening to. But I'm really, really excited about this financial plan I'm kind of building long term. So the cool thing too, and I kind of brushed over it last week, but this app called DivTracker, or on the App Store, it's called Stock Dividend Tracker, but the app name's DivTracker. It's so useful. It's so beneficial. A lot of people I know, and depending on how really great you are or proficient with the program or even the experience you have, create spreadsheets of all these different stocks that they hold, their dividend yield, how much they pay out, their price, all this and that. I mean, they really get heavy into these spreadsheets. Me, which is kind of unfortunate, I'm not very excelled in Excel. That's kind of a play on words. It's fun, right? But no, I'm really just not that, I wouldn't even say comprehensive, but I just don't really have the best knowledge of that program. So this app, Stock Dividend Tracker, that I have, you're allowed to put in the stock that you hold and the amount of shares and then the price. And then what it does is it updates daily, and it also tells you what to expect the day that you'll receive your dividend and then how much you'll receive it. And then it adds it out, and it does it by like yearly. So it'll tell me what my overall, how much I should be making in dividends by the end of the year, how much I'll be making in dividends a month compared to how many companies you hold and when their dividend payout is. So it's just super beneficial for me and super cool to have this at the literally the palm of my hands and be checking it monthly, daily, whenever, and just kind of seeing overall, okay, I now know that each and every month I'm making $50 from dividends, and then I can take that $50 and just continue to keep reinvesting it and then just playing around with it. So huge fan for those of you out there that are investing and maybe own dividend stocks, or you want to own dividend stocks and you want to be able to track that better. I definitely fully recommend that you check out Stock Dividend Tracker on the App Store. It kind of looks like a measuring utensil where it's like this brass piece and it's weighted with cash and I think stocks or something. I don't have my phone on me, but it has my full support, and I anticipate on buying it out or paying the fee annually to maintain that app so I can get rid of the advertisements once things start getting more serious, and I continue to keep investing in these dividend stocks and then reinvesting the monthly revenue that I make from them. So yes, stock market's always hot as ever. Really crazy time with the stock market. A lot of people are making a lot of money if they're investing wisely. I'm just going the smart route. And I like to think that now towards the end of the year, depending on what happens with my side business, if I continue to keep getting work, maybe instead of 1 month, instead of investing $50 a month, I do $100 a month or $200 a month, just depending on how much money I have, as long as I'm comfortable and within the budget and I keep getting, that asset column heavy, and then the liability column continued to just keep making it smaller and smaller and not have a worry in the world about financial stress. It's crazy. It's a lot to think about. So that is the stock market for this week. Again, no news. I feel like I have sharing. Supposedly the Democratic convention was this past week. I did not watch it. I've turned politics off. I've kind of just gone about my life, guys. I don't have the news on. I do have CNBC on Tuesdays and Thursdays since I'm working remotely from home while I'm working on my laptop and just have it as background noise. But in terms of news, I would say too, I did a pretty good job for the first few weeks of sharing the unemployment numbers, and they have gone back up. I think I saw today it was 1.1 million filed for unemployment, whereas last week it was in the 900,000 range. So that's kind of scary a little bit. But again, I think all of us still are just kind of taking this whole pandemic by a week basis. So for those of you out there, I hope you're staying safe. I will admit that it kind of, I hope people don't get the wrong impression about me, about what I'm doing with going out, traveling, all this and that. A lot of this stuff, those 2 trips were scheduled way in advance before they even happened. So, when we had our money invested already into the trip and everything, it's like, why just not go and take the proper precautions? And we did. But yeah, I hope those of you out there that listen or watching are staying safe through this troubling time, that you're getting through it okay. And then just to make sure you're safe, wash those hands, do what you got to do. But yes, I guess we'll close this podcast. I was a little bit nervous to see how it'd go because I only have a few notes here, but I was able to drag it out long enough to where it was almost that that smelly time frame, that 30-minute time frame. But if you guys don't know, if you're listening through Apple Music or Apple Podcast or Spotify, this is the first time coming across me and listening to me, feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Christopher Seibert. It's usually always in the description of the podcast. I try to leave it in there, but yeah, feel free to check that out. Also check out my personal, or not my personal, but my hobbyist, my for funds Instagram, the Christopher Seibert, all one word, S as in Sam, EIBERT. And there, I post kind of just minute clips of content as well as my stock portfolio. And then I try to share motivational posts, I feel like, on my story. So for those of you out there that need a little push or need to think outside the box or kind of get, that inner hungriness coming, or want that drive or dedication, I'm just saying really fun words. You feel free to follow the account. But again, as always, guys, I just want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. This has easily become one of the coolest things I've made. And I've talked to Bryce about this, and I always think that about stuff like this, like the idea of having this way back when I came across my journal and just being able to come on for 30 minutes a week and just, talk about, like YouTube stats, talk about my life, talk about stock market information. It's completely irrelevant, but it's like with Snapchat, I usually save just about every single snap I post just because it's like a memory bank, here in 10 years, it's scary to think what life will look like on the other side, but being able to, have this hidden somewhere and come back to it and just listen to it and say, man, look where you started at then. And then now look where you're at, I think it's cool. It's a little scary, but it's just cool to have these here in online in some type of media platform to where, it's just a memory bank and be happy. But thank you for those of you out there that tune in and listen. I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to close this episode. This has been week 15. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast. Bye-bye.